Hello. Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, they'll be able to hear your presentation in Spanish. They're not going to be, they're watching.
Because I can't hear you.
We translate
Um,
Spanish. Yeah.
That way it's simultaneous, so you don't have to pause and translate. And already somebody is doing it for you on Zoom.
So while waiting, go ahead and think about something that makes you proud of your babies. And then we're gonna share that in a little bit.
sorry, we're just trying to figure out the sound. You can hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
So if you could just start the introduction, that would be great. Thank
Okay,
you.
you want me to do both English and Spanish or just plain Spanish?
So if you could just start the intro in English and then translate what you said in English into Spanish.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
We are offering live interpretation into Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right of your Zoom screen. You'll see the icon there. If you're joining via Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking more or the three dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select the language in which you would like this interpretation to be heard. Then choose Spanish and click done. If you wish to hear only the interpreters and not the original speaker, be sure to click mute original audio. Everyone must choose a language. Do not stay in the default off. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación en vivo en español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic en el botón de interpretación. En la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom verá un icono de globo terráqueo. Si se está uniendo a través de la aplicación Zoom para un teléfono smartphone, seleccione un idioma haciendo clic en el botón que dice More, que significa más. En los tres puntos de la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla, seleccione el idioma donde indicará Language Interpretation. Luego elija Spanish y ahí haga clic. Listo. Si desea escuchar solo a los intérpretes y no los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer en clic donde dice Mute Original Audio, silenciar el audio original.
We can start now.
We can start.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. So happy you're here with us today. I know you're very busy as parents. We're probably that we have children, so I'm so thankful for your time today. Since we're a small crowd, we're gonna take some time to share your name and also the age of your children and something that makes you proud to be a parent.
Okay, yeah.
Did you hear me or no?
I think we
Do I
need to.
repeat?
You just be closer to you.
Okay. Oh, is it too loud?
Oh, I mean, you don't have to be like right next to it, but.
We just had to move it closer to you.
Okay. So who would like to start? All right, and just again, for those of you who didn't hear on Zoom, welcome. We're so happy you're here. We're gonna take time to share everybody's name, the age of your children or child, and something
There you go.
that makes you proud to be a parent. So for example, my name is Belle. My kids are 6 and 15, just turned 15, teenage. And something that makes me proud of my kids is that my little one is very empathetic. He always asks to offer help in household chores. Like when he sees me washing the dishes, he'll stop playing his video games that he loves to say, "Can I help?" And I love that about my baby boy. And then my 14-year-old, it's hard with parents having a divorce. So just navigating that, and I'm proud for her. Anybody else want to share before we begin?
I have two daughters.
Yeah.
6 and 5 and 6. One is in kindergarten and the other one is in fifth grade. starting to like know little words in German. That's something that I get very proud because we're out like when we go to the store or something, they're saying like the numbers and the words.
Thanks for sharing. And what's your name?
So it's
Celeste, thank you.
Well, I'm the parent of, the father of Lori Angeles. She's 14. And as you know, it's changes on her are very dramatic.
Yeah.
But she's a very good person. She came from a different school, Gophers, where and she's happy here. And I can tell by her acting at home. Before it was like very like too many kids, too many, I don't know, gossip or somewhere over there. But now over here, she's very happy. She likes it from day one, so I'm glad that. The other kid is Diego. He's 11, and he has IP, but he's a good guy, a good kid. All he has to do is just concentrate more and keep working on him. That's a little bit of a disadvantage for him, but he's doing good after all. And
Thank you, Luis, for sharing.
her mom.
Yeah.
Sí, lo puedes decir en español.
Yeah.
Lo que me hace orgullosa de mis hijos,
What she's most proud of her kid.
Yeah.
pues yo tengo mucho que me siento orgullosa de ser la mamá de los hijos que me tocaron. Por madre,
Yeah.
entonces mis hijos pues, me han salido muy nobles.
Her kids are very noble. Loving and respectful.
Trabajo como padres, pues por eso venimos a la clase. Aprendí algo, ¿no?
But they're trying their hardest to parent and having love and appreciate their kids.
Thank you for sharing. Reason. Olga, thank you. Yes, go for it.
My name is Veronica, and I have 6 kids. So I have a 30, my oldest son is 30, my oldest daughter is 25. I have a 22, they're mostly all adults, 22, 21, 19, and my youngest 13. Almost here. So the thing that makes me most proud is just recently I took a trip to Florida where my 3 girls lived together. They lived together in Florida. They moved to Florida. So when I went to go visit them, and I went to go visit like all their friends and where they work and where they go to school. Seriously, everybody was like, "You're the mom of these girls. Oh my gosh, you're the sweetest."
Aw.
And I was like, "That's all I wanted." So it's really nice to hear other people say that about your kids when you see what they've been through and on stuff like that, and they still are kind and have a good heart and just sweet, and I'm like, it's so, I love it. So that makes me that makes me so proud. Like, I was like. Yeah, so it's really, it was really.
My name is Lourdes and my son is 11, he's in 6th grade. And I'm proud of him because, for a lot of things. But when he coming from the other school, he was bullying in the other school. And he has a little pressure. And Lonnie is helping him right now. And she called me every time when he wanted to talk to him. But, yeah, he's happy here. He like German and like for the kids, and she like German and she speaks German to me and
Oh,
he's learning and he wanna stay late.
Oh.
No, but he has another person who take care of him.
Okay.
So when that finished, you can stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's happy and the other day, I think Mr. Mo.
Mr. Mo.
Told me,
Mr. Mo, I love him.
he told me and saying congratulations because it was like a little fight and he was in the middle, like trying to help them, and he said, I like his attitude. And I said, okay, I'm proud of him.
Yeah, it's so nice to hear that. Thank you so much, Meredith.
My name is Leah and I have two girls, 11 and 9. And they're both at Albert Einstein and a little bit similar to Veronica. What makes me proud is when I get to witness them, like when they don't know I'm watching, because at home it feels like a lot of times big struggle, but then when they don't know I'm there and I see them, they're actually super kind and helpful and thoughtful human beings. So I'm like, okay, at least these other people are getting something good, you know?
When you're not there.
Or when I see it, but they don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is. Well, there's food. What is it?
I saw it at the right thing.
Yeah. What is it? How you doing?
Grader over at the elementary. Her name is Gabby. And but really, I can kind of echo everything that everyone else was saying. I'm just proud to see her in action when she doesn't know I'm watching. I usually try and walk her to school over here, and then they've got run club on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So like seeing her run around and like rack up laps and like talking with her friends, it's great. Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Monica want to share and Andrea want to share. And you want to say?
My name is Monica. I am the school counselor here at the middle school, but I have two kiddos at the elementary. I have a first grader, he is 6, and then my third grader is 8 years old. And I am proud when they tell me that they made a new friend. Or I also actually get proud when they tell me like, Mommy, today, like, I didn't really feel like playing with anyone, but I was okay being by myself. Like, I get so proud of them when they're able to just accommodate and they're flexible. And when they're flexible, I'm like, okay, because as a mom, who didn't always have like a routine or predictability at home, I want that for them. And then I'm like, am I doing the right thing by always making everything the same? Because then what if something goes wrong or something isn't as planned and they're like, wait, no, what's happening to my routine, right? So when something doesn't go as planned and they're able to just get through it, I'm like, wow, like you are resilient. Like this is so cool to see this happen and from my perspective, I don't think I'm teaching them, but they do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yes, okay, we can do this.
That's awesome. And the way that you set up your house where it's routine, that's where they are more wanting to be but with others. So you created that space for them. Not them like that. How about you, Miss Andrea?
So my name is Andrea, and my office is in the future high school building, and I have a first grader. She started coming at Albert Einstein last year for kindergarten, and I think one of the things that I'm really proud of is just watching her be so excited to go to school, and just seeing her passion for learning hasn't gone away. I mean, it's still hard to wake her up in the mornings, but yeah, but it's just seeing how she lights up when she talks about things that she's learned in class. And I also really like how the teachers handle like conflict within certain kids, they handle it very well and they have the kids speak to each other. So like, I like that because I see how she interacts with other children, especially if like things don't go too well. I can trust that she knows what to do and how to handle situations like that. So like, I'm really proud to see her like independence too. And like her confidence within herself has definitely grown a lot. So I'm really excited to see the progress and the growth like as she gets older. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm now or Miss talk a little bit. And I have a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And so what I'm most proud of is that my kids have taken it upon themselves to do the right thing. At this age, the odds are against them because they do come from a family of addiction. and they have done everything to be good students in high school and participate in sports, participate in dance, and kind of break that family dysfunction. And so I am very proud of them for that.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your stories. That was lovely. This is our agenda for today. We're going to be talking about trauma in the brain. Do I need to speak louder?
Yes. Can you speak a little louder?
Yes.
Yes.
So today, we are going to talk about trauma in the brain. This is our agenda. Toxic healing and wellness, talking about emotions and resources after. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Malaysia. I moved here at the age of 17. I have 6 siblings.
Wow.
That was a sign. Oh my God. Not okay. I have 6 siblings, so I totally know what it feels like to be raised with a lot of people. We came from a low income household, and then when we moved to America, I became the breadwinner of my family. I'm a multilingual learner, a lot of languages, Malaysia. I'm a partner, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, a daughter, a hugger, I love her. I'm a high consumer of all food and coffee. It's very important in my life. I was a math teacher for 12 years before I stepped into this role, and I taught math and advisory. Dr. Jose, the principal, is who I went to school with to be a doctoral students. I got my degree, my doctoral degree, and my study was on trauma and resilience.
Okay, so I'm the only granddaughter of 8 grandchildren, so I'm the princess of the family.
Yeah.
I'm a partner mom of 3, 17, 14, 13. I love my 2 chihuahuas. They're like my babies. I love the beach and traveling. We just got back from Cabo and New York, so that was very fun. I love anything sweet or salads, like in the picture, I take a picture of what I love. I dream to go to Switzerland or Tokyo, and my favorite holiday is Easter. If I were to walk in my house, it would just be like I threw up Easter.
Thanks for sharing, Janelle. So, we already shared this one. Awesome sauce. So I know we come here today as parents, like a parent hat. But we wear many hats. We're also moms, dads, we are daughters. I want you to choose how you want to show up today. Maybe you feel like, okay, I'm gonna use this as a lens of a parent. And that's how I understand my children. Maybe I'm gonna use the lens of a citizen and understand what's happening to trauma in the world. Maybe if I'm a little bit more want to be a risky and learn about the trauma that happened to myself, you can be in that spot. So choose how you want to show up, choose how you want to be safe. Okay, so what is trauma? Trauma is a result from an event or a series of events. It can also be collective events, kind of like the Holocaust. A lot of Jewish people undergo collective trauma that has individual, physical, emotional, harmful, threatening that has lasting effects on individuals' social, emotional, physical, well. This is a picture of a father who lost his son and who was an artist. I feel like we all can relate to the picture of what he means. So, how prevalent is trauma? 26 out of 40 students in the classroom experience trauma. That's 67 out of 100 adults in the school. Spanish. And I know this is data from 1998. So COVID happened, it's way more. And we just did a research, Janelle and I presented at the Chula Vista Collaborative. It's about 70 and above now of people experiencing trauma. Trauma happens when it's unpredictable, extreme, and prolonged over time. things like neglect, abuse, natural disasters, chronic poverty, racism, COVID-19. Trauma also can be a single event, just one time. It doesn't have to be prolonged, like a long time, just one event. So understanding how the brain works helps us understand what is happening in our brain, how we can respond. So when we are first in the mother's womb, this is forming in our brains. So temperature, feeling the temperature, respiration, cardiac, sleep, weight, hunger, satiation. This part of our brain is forming. As soon as we're born, this part is formed, created. Memory, bonding, the baby knows who's mom, who's dad, who's stranger danger. And we're bored. They understand sugar is awesome. At the age of 2, all the way to age 25. So think about the kids we have. There's 17, 13, their brain is not fully developed. This only fully develops at age of 25. Planning, sense of time, which is why we can't get up from bed. Inhibition of inappropriate actions, being empathetic, understanding, creativity, language, the words to convey what we're feeling, hope, values, that is developed later. So how our brain is developed is how we receive information. So anything that we hear, see, smell, taste, and feel, it goes this way first. So if I see a fake snake, my reaction first is to jump and scream. My body is there to protect me. It's amazing that way. This part comes first. But then a few seconds later, then I understand my prefrontal cortex. Oh, that's a fake snake. I do not need to be afraid. Then this parts of my brains come back. So that's just a few seconds. That's how our brain works. But what happens when we undergo trauma over and over again? Let's say we have a drive-through shooting that happens in our home, that happens to a lot of my students. Anytime they hear the police, ambulance, their body goes in this way. They first, what is that? Right? Figure out, are we safe? But if this trauma happens so prolonged, unpredictable, what happens is these two parts of our brain do not work. We don't know sense of time. We don't know that the danger is not happening right now. It was just a police siren that he thought. But our brains don't know. But our brains is not working that way. So all we're doing is we're hyperventilating, we're shaking, we're like, what's going on? That's what's happening in our brains. Anytime we are triggered, this is what happens as well. So what are the symptoms of trauma? It includes depression, anxiety, anger, aggression, hypervigilance, can't sleep, can't eat, and more. I love this picture of the brain because it shows that the part where we can access language does not happen. So sometimes my students have panic attack in the class. I'm like, what's going on? They can't even say what's going on because that part of the brain is not working like that. So what really propelled this work forward is this a study that showed how many things that happens in your life that is traumatic. If you check like 10 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, you're 12 more times likely to use alcohol and drugs, experience depression, attempt suicide, because you don't have the coping strategies to deal with what's happening in our body. And then there's also the tool on the body. This is the president in Ukraine dealing with the war, February 22, April 4th, the difference of how he's experiencing the trauma right now. 15% greater chance to suffer from the 10 leading causes of death. Oh, too fast. 4 times as likely to suffer from cancer, 4 times more likely to suffer from emphysema. So doctors have learned this, and in the hospital now, not only are they treating for cancer, but they're understanding what trauma that they go through. That's what to say about it. That was a lot. What comes up for you with the neuroscience? Look at the
For the
skills
presenter,
are not access.
for the presentation.
Planning, present on time, mathematics, creativity, language.
Oh, the parent sleep. Okay. So for you.
Report, bonding, memory. Do these skills show up lacking at your workplace, at home, among your colleagues, children, spouse, yourself, when? How often? Just give you some time to think about it. Most of all, I want you to be curious instead of judgmental, like, oh, that happened, and this is how I treated them. It's okay, we're human. You're judgmental, don't beat yourself up like that. I invite you to be curious. Why are you judgmental? Huh? We're humans. Just how our brain works and is designed to protect ourselves. Thoughts and questions before I move to the next slide. Pause, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So, before we move on, let's brainstorm. What does a dysregulated child look like? Because knowing what it looks like helps us know, oh, they're in trauma mode, they're in stress mode, their lid is flipped. Lip is lit, I don't know. Lid is flipped. Okay. Sorry, English language learner here. Their lid is flipped. Once we understand what they look like, then we know how to support them. So what does that look like? How have you seen your kids or just in society, how kids act when they're dysregulated? Type it in here.
When they sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna start naming off a couple that.
Yeah.
From my training in the military.
Ooh, yes.
Flight, fight,
Yes.
fawn, or freeze.
Flight, fight, and my lord, fawn and freeze. I know a lot of people know that, but can you explain a little bit what fawn is? So that people know.
So to kind of like lock up, shy away, introvert, kind of shut down, be mentally flooded.
Yeah, correct. Continue.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I got so far.
Okay, yes. Anytime you're fighting with us, you're trying to run away from a situation, freezing fawning. Yes, that shows a dysregulated person. Anything else?
When they shut down.
Yeah.
Aggressive, because they don't know how to express like what they're feeling,
Yes.
or anxious.
Depressed is also another thing.
Flying.
And crying can be different things, but yes, when you're dysregulated, it can also crying. Yes, ma'am.
Or also physical stuff like sweating, shaking,
Mm.
fidgeting a lot, moving around.
Spacey.
Mm.
I don't know if that's on spelling. Oh, yeah, this is great. Anytime I read it.
Can't sleep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or two, maybe the opposite. I see this sometimes with my daughter where she is very fidgety, very talkative because she just is feeling very overwhelmed.
What happened to me? Distracted. I can't.
Mhm.
Overeating.
Mhm.
Overeating or undereating.
Mhm.
Yeah. But also just remember, your teens, you're gonna eat a lot at that stage. Just remember. I was hungry all the time. But also I'm hungry normally. So I don't know. But yeah. Being able to. Yeah. Not being able to stay asleep.
Uh-huh.
Hi, welcome. Welcome everyone. There's food.
Yes.
Please eat.
I got a comida.
All of these are correct. All of these are correct, Mark. Being impulsive. Yeah. This. Their lens is small. They can't see past their emotion right now. Lenses are small. And as adults, we've gone through teenage years, so we understand that emotions don't last. But they don't. At the moment, they're like feeling this is gonna be my future forever. I don't know what's gonna happen. Just want to fall away in a hole. Their lens are small. Anything else you think of? We're gonna move on. How do we support that? The only way our brain can consciously access the emotional brain is through self-awareness. Learning to read what is going on inside ourselves. Oh, this happening to me. Oh, I am frustrated right now. I am crying and dealing with a hard thing. That's okay. Saying all those things. That is how we access the brain, the prefrontal cortex, and calm down. And our bodies are so wise, you guys. The only way to access it back to our bodies is breathing and using our hands and using all the 5 senses. Seeing, tasting, touch, smelling, and feeling. Oh, seeing. Thank you. Like, I got it. So like hugging people, see, touching something to distract us, whether it's a fidget, that always helps us. Smelling something that gives us good memory effect again. Seeing would be things we love, distracting ourselves with a podcast or a book. Any of these things helps us access the brain. So I'm going to show you a video of a couple of students who show how they access their prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, it's so mad. He was so doing stuff. It's when you breathe and not touch your chest and you still hold it and it's
The breathing is done in and out through your nose. If you inhale through your nose, you kind of want to close your throat or glottis to make it the breath audible. And then after you inhale deep, you hold on to the breath, lock your chin to your chest. And then you just hold it down there for a couple seconds. Exhale, bring it up. Exhale, breathe.
Grab a couple ice cubes. I know it still sounds crazy, but if you grab 2 ice cubes in your hands, it's super hard to think about anything but wow. Hands are really cold. The third thing we recommend is starting your sleep with the quietness and rain. You can listen to the clock. And when you shut down and you make your brain try to find that sound, it suddenly creates some calm. The other thing people do is they focus on something really close, like your hand, and then they take their eyes out of focus and focus like on the floor on the other side of the hand. Back on the hand, and then back on the floor. And you take your brain and you make your eyes focus close and then far, close and then far. Again, each thing that I'm talking about really is trying to shift your brain to go into another place. The other thing we recommend kids do, and adults as well, is to take your mind into a place where you feel safe and special. So you take yourself out of where you are and go to a beach, or go to your room, or go to a lake, or go to the field.
So Janelle, she's gonna have us guide us on some of these activities together. You can practice this. Here's one it is. Thank you. So we're gonna get into practicing some breathing skills. I don't know about you guys, but I always catch myself even asking, am I breathing? Because we get so much in a routine where
You know, when I'm driving, I have to tell myself to relax my shoulders and put my neck down because I'm so tense. We carry a lot of our stress in our physical body. So even though we might not be experiencing trauma in the moment, our body might still be carrying that stress physically. So whether we're relating this to ourselves or to our children, imagine the stress that they might be carrying themselves physically within their body, whether it's just panicking over homework assignment or who they're gonna sit next to at lunch, or thinking about the bully that they're, you know, is bullying them at school. How can we show them to practice this moment of breathing where they could kind of recenter themselves to be like, okay, I'm right here, right now. So as much as it's just breathing like we're doing right now, we really want to get into practicing that like deep breathing. So the first step is inhale for 4 seconds. And when we do that nice inhale, like we kind of just want to get ready for that. We're going to hold it for 4 seconds and then we're going to let it go for 6 seconds. So when we let it go, we want to use our mouth to kind of let it come out for 6 seconds.
And I want to add the 6 seconds is important because that's when our brain accesses the parasympathetic nervous part of our brain to access the prefrontal cortex. So the 6
That may
seconds.
not be in the mood.
Yeah. Okay. Ready to go, guys? Okay.
Okay, so inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Okay, let's try it again. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. And do you kind of feel your body now starting to be able to be like, okay, I want to do this again? The first time is kind of like, all right, let's get this over with. But now we're feeling comfortable. So let's try it again. So inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Let go for 6. And now we're kind of regulated. Now we're able to kind of allow ourselves to be now more here in the present moment. It feels good.
Yes.
So if we're at home and we're feeling, or our kids are feeling this heightened sense of where they can't access, right? That prefrontal cortex, or it's just, we're starting almost like a blackout, right? That tunnel vision. Another alternative is grabbing a couple of ice cubes and holding them in your hand as long as you can. And this really helps to kind of calm down the nervous system. So that again, it's almost like that breathing technique. We're just coming back and we're reconnecting with that prefrontal cortex.
Cold showers also helps.
Yeah.
And there was a study done by a person who was suicidal and she's trying to do things to distract herself. Of course, she had to see therapists, deal with all that stuff. But in the moment, what she did was she did this ice cube thing. It worked on her and then the research moved forward. Also, cold showers help.
Yes. Okay, so another strategy to really help in the moment is finding something to really assert your attention to. So picking something where you're like, okay, it's not typically what I pay attention to, but it's something that I want to look at or pay attention to bring my attention back to what's happening right now, this space. So a practice could be trying to listen to the quietness in the room. So if we were to be quiet right now, completely silent, close the door and pick something to find that we could listen to, we might be able to hear like a clock ticking or the air conditioning, the noise outside, and that's us really bringing ourselves down, our nervous system down, to really just pay attention with our surroundings. So if you're at home picking something that you could just be still with your child. Look at your hands and put on focus and unfocus. So it's almost like the camera, right? If you were to stick a camera right here in front of this pen, it wouldn't be able to focus. but if you take it back, it's gonna focus. So just think of the camera on your phone. You don't want it close, you want it far away. So in order to just calm that nervous system, we're gonna bring our hands up close. And then we're gonna, bring it back.
Look to the
focus.
floor,
Mhm.
put your hand to the floor.
Like how many seconds, like consecutive or just?
Just at that
couple
moment,
minutes and then?
doesn't matter until you need to calm down.
It's close, and then
It doesn't have to be close, it can be far. And then you look at the ground, look at your hand. Look at your ground. Okay. Anything to distract the brain from the current trigger.
Trigger, yep.
Mhm.
Taking your mind to a place where you feel safe and special, just kind of like that video mentioned and what Bill mentioned earlier, a lot of the times. It's called nostalgic joy, where you hear a song on the radio that you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that song when I was 10. Or, you know, when I was 15 with my best friend, taking yourself back to a time where you felt safe, where your child felt safe. I did this one time where my daughter was having a panic attack, and I brought up fun memories that we've had as a family, and she totally just kind of brought herself down and started laughing and saying, you know, I remember when you know, we went to Disneyland and this happened, so just kind of taking yourself back to a time that brings that sense of joy. Looking at old pictures.
So what we allow for ourselves, we allow for others. So when we practice this on our own, we can definitely help our kids and our spouse and our friends. When we fear in engaging in ourselves, we will block for others. So it's us as role models. Now I'm gonna show you this video. I love this video because our kids do mimic after us. Even though they're teenagers, they still do mimic after us. I'm gonna show this video.
Even older too.
Yes. Has anyone seen this before?
Oh. Oh.
They follow us. They do. So even though he thought he was winning, he's actually like, oh, actually. So what we can do also when we are self-aware, oh, we're dealing with a hard situation right now, then dealing and naming the emotion. And the goal is to be emotion scientist instead of an emotion judge. So emotion scientist, the difference between a scientist and a judge is a scientist is curious, they're investigating, right? A judge is like, bad, sad is bad, angry is bad, all those things. No, emotions are just information. It's just information. What does our body need? What is our body telling us? So emotion scientist is curious about the emotions, ask people how they're feeling versus uninterested, critical about emotions, make quick assumptions, seek to understand the why behind the feelings versus judging people why they feel the way they do. Try new strategies to manage feelings versus don't spend any time learning new ways to manage feelings. Reflect and learn from mistakes, try better next time. I haven't made an effort to grow or improve. So think of a scientist, they make a mistake, they try again until the study is true. So, diving into emotions that have a bad rap. What are the emotions that we think that society thinks are bad?
you're mad.
Mad. Anger. Yeah. Sadness. Yes, aggressiveness. How many people think that anxiety is a bad thing? Shut that down. Yeah. So emotions are just information. There's no shame. It's like when our stomach is hungry. Who has been judging their stomach for being hungry? It's just doing what it's doing. It's hungry. So it makes a sound. Do we say, oh my gosh, stop making that sound? That was so, you know, we don't that.
Emotions is the same way. It's just information letting us know we have a need to pay attention to. So, sadness, anger, happiness, fears, disgust, they're not bad or good. They're just information. Get curious. Why am I feeling this way? What is my body trying to tell me? Our bodies are wise. So reflect back on time. When was it useful to have anger, anxiety, and sadness? When it was like, that was a good thing I had at that moment.
Sadness when someone dies.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be weird if we were not sad if someone close to us died? That's an emotion that's useful to help us to connect with other people. Sadness has a purpose. That's another, when was it useful to have anxiety? When was it useful to have anger?
When it feels like something is unfair or unjust, that's when like that anger comes out.
Yeah.
That's when you feel anger, and I feel like it's useful because then it can motivate you or drive you to make things right.
Yes. So if someone crossed a boundary of mine, let's say, I don't know, oh, I'm Asian, so we don't have shoes in the house. And someone's like, oh, I'm still gonna wear my shoes in your house, even though you said please take off your shoes. That's like, oh, that's a boundary. I'm mad. That's okay. Then I can communicate. Excuse me. Or sometimes if someone harms my baby, it's a good time to be angry. Yes, it means I care. When is a good time to have anxiety?
There's some people, you know. A new experience, or you're facing a challenge, or not to go on a roller coaster.
Let's say we're filling a form of the DMV or our taxes. Do we want to be happy at that moment? I mean, if you're happy, that's great. But at that moment, when I'm filling my taxes, I'm like, I need to be alert.
Yeah.
And my anxiety helps me get alert, helps me to pay attention to
All the
numbers.
details. Yeah.
All the details, because anxiety is good with details.
Yeah,
They remember all the.
that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
Any other examples? Oh, scientist room. It's a science. Yeah, emotion scientist, sorry. That's fine.
Right now.
No. So anyway, uses of anger, it calls our attention to be important. I don't know pronounce that word. In meetings our goals and motivates us to take steps to overcome challenges. Anger can help us clarify our needs within a relationship or system or school and communicate those needs. Like the Black Lives Matter, I don't know why it's upside down right now. Get curious. I am feeling angry. Saying that is a good thing. What boundaries were crossed? What obstacles am I facing? Uses of anger. Uses of anxiety. They have evolved to protect us. It helps us stay alert, makes us aware of risks, motivate us to solve problems. I am feeling fearful. I have anxiety. What does it need me to tell me to be protective of? What feels scary? What fears do I have? Uses of sadness. It is a critical component of happiness, like we watched in Inside Out. Like happiness and sadness goes together. It helps us connect with people. How many of you can relate to sad songs, sad movies? Like, oh, that makes me feel more human. I'm not alone. Helps us improve our memory. We remember the sad things very well. Improve judgment, increase motivation, improve interactions in some cases, and cause a person to evaluate their life. Consider making changes or recoup help from others. My therapist like to say, listen to your pain. It's a portal to the divine. Like, knowing, oh, why am I feeling sad? Where does it hurt? Am I taking your slide? I just don't know what's my next. All right.
We take turns, but we don't know who's gonna see what. Okay, name it to embrace it. Also, brainstorm with peers. Reflect back to the time when it's not useful to have anger, anxiety, and sadness. When is it not useful to be angry and have anxiety and sadness?
On the freeway when someone cut you off, you're just like, oh, I wanted this chase right.
That's a good one. That happens just like, I'm angry.
Yeah.
Just let it go. I'm angry.
Or your partner upsets you and you want to react in a way that you just might not do the best.
100%, yeah.
Maybe when you and your kids are going at it or something, you know, there's a situation and your kids are like, you need to respond different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Party pooper.
Party pooper.
Definitely listen to the sadness, 100%, but yeah, maybe you should have stayed home. And pay attention to the signs. They're just information, guys. Just information. Okay, so name it to embrace it. How many of you heard name it to tame it? Yeah. I'm thinking, it's a part of us, it's emotions. You don't need to tame it like it's an animal. You embrace it, it's a part of who we are. There's a Buddhist saying that this too belongs. The pain is part of us, the sadness is part of us. The difference between using our emotions towards a healthy response versus unhealthy is being self-aware, naming our emotions. Once we can befriend what's going inside of us, then we can observe the emotion like scientists. Is it right or wrong way to deal with the situation? Oh, is this you or me? Still me? Okay, so for example, if we have a roaring stomach, if we're self-aware, what we can do is name it. My stomach is roaring. I am kind and gentle. Actually, no one is harsh with themselves if they're hungry. Get curious. I am hungry. I need food. Then what? You communicate that to get your food. What happens when we have a roaring stomach and we decide to continue working, not acknowledge our stomach is roaring? You know, what happens? Angry. Hangry. That's what will happen. One is a healthy response, one is an unhealthy response. Same with sadness or any other emotion. Self-aware. Name it. I am sad. Be kind and gentle. Get curious. Why am I sad? Who can I ask for comfort? What can I do to comfort myself? Because healthy response, you're lacking self-awareness. They're like, I'm sad. I'm not acknowledging it. Just keep doing the things I need to do. You can end up not sleeping, being angry all of a sudden. Your sadness can explode to different things. One is a healthy response, one is an unhealthy response. I don't know if I took your slide.
No,
Okay.
after this one.
And then the other thing is recovery can only take place within relationships. It cannot occur in isolation. So healing, you need to do that with community with each other. So I did this with my classroom, and one of my students asked me, Miss Tan, can depression and anxiety be passed down from generation to generation? The answer is yes. There is a gene that is passed down from one generation to another. However, what makes it not activated is a caring, loving relationship. Isn't that wonderful that healing is all within, like, it's not something you have to buy? And in fact, a lot of indigenous people, why they survived and are so great in their community, at the beginning before colonization and the killing of the people and all that stuff, is they had a community with each other. And that's one of their healing ways to thrive and survive. That was shown in the research over and over again. So how do we speak to our body that stress is so resistant now? Okay, so how do we speak to our body to tell that stress is over? So we did some practices to kind of help with the stress, but now it's like, okay, what do we do to kind of heal ourselves from that very traumatic experience or that very stressful experience? So any physical activity, you know, just a quick walk, going to the gym, breathing. And again, this is all to kind of recuperate, to heal from that very stressful, traumatic moment that happened.
I put there yoga and special forces, which you probably know, Mr. Special Forces Manager there. That in yoga, they help with that, and also military to calm and help with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
A positive social interaction. Maybe being with some friends, phone calling a friend, finding a safe place. Laughing. Watching a funny TV show.
Any cat videos. But it's not the fake laughter. You have to be like rolling on the floor laughter. So even if you think about that moment that made you laugh that hard, that helps.
We're almost crying.
Yeah.
Affection. Warm center of gravity hug until you are relaxed. The I have come home hug. And I always tell this to my kids because they want to give a hug like that. And I'm just like, come in here. I want to feel your heartbeat, right? We're connecting. So finding someone who's willing to hug you, it might not be your grumpy teenager. Maybe
Might be your dog, everybody.
Yeah, the dog.
I love my chihuahuas. And sometimes crying it out, we're letting out these emotions that we're carrying. And if that takes you having to watch a very sad movie or listen to that song that just makes you kind of be in your feelings, allowing yourself to just let it out. Creative expression, painting, artistry, music, sewing,
Playmaking.
or even finding a new hobby to do so that you can kind of go to that place.
And it doesn't have to be good looking art, just
Mhm.
paint, just draw.
Yeah, it helps.
Show anybody. And here it is in Spanish. Just a reminder, these are things that we could do to heal from those very stressful moments.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just keep it on the screen for a couple seconds. Okay, so we have some free mental health resources for teenagers there. So you could see for Bright Line, it's an app that you could download on any smart device. So you go into the App Store and you download Bright Line, and it's free counseling for kids ages 0 to 12.
And counseling for parents
And
too.
for parents, yes. And Soluna, if you look for Soluna in the App Store, it's free services for ages 13 to 25.
And
You don't need insurance, right?
no insurance, no, it's all free. It's only in California though. And these two, it can be translated in, I think, 20 different languages. And all the coaches and therapists in there have been in training for cultural training. So they're diverse therapists out there. And then on top of that, see the age is 25, why they end at 25 is because the brain only grows until the age of 25, right? We need that.
Okay, we have some more mental health support. So family health centers, there is one located in Chula Vista.
Family health centers you'll find around San Diego County, they provide services for, either finding Medi-Cal, shelter, food, or housing, counseling services. So if you don't live in Chula Vista, if you live more up north, you could, go onto Google and Google Family Health Center near me. And so it's a hub where they could really resources in the community. There's Care Community Center para las Familias and Bayview Crisis Stabilization Unit. All of these provide free mental health support for you and your family. And so these are links that you can click on. So we will provide the slides. The school will be providing the slides to you so that you're able to go back to those links. And if you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to a website where you could access different tools to learn about different topics. So as you can see, some of these are the topics that are offered for free. And it just varies on different themes. Yeah. Okay, and this one is available in English and in Spanish. So it's how to prevent passing anxiety to your kids. And it provides techniques, strategies, and resources and how to support your children with anxiety and how to support yourself if you're feeling anxious. And Belle and I, along with Dr. Felicia, who I believe is a board member, right?
Yeah, she's a board member.
She is.
Yes.
Yes. We came together and we created a podcast because two things. As we all know as parents, technology is taking over the world. It's all about cell phones. It's all about internet, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. So we want to be able to kind of take our families in that technology journey and say, you can access us, you can access support by listening to our podcast. And so our podcast, we made it to really kind of talk about the hard parts of parenting. A lot of the times you might find a podcast that talks about how amazing parenting is and how just exciting and fun it is. But sometimes it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help. And that's kind of where our stories, because we're all moms and we have fathers and people on our podcast that talk about those hard topics that you really don't hear about a lot. So we just recently posted our 3rd episode, which is about how to, what is it?
Emotional resilience.
Emotional resilience, yes.
With our kids. And then the previous episode was navigating co-parenting with your spouse, also in a
blended family,
which we all have blended families in our podcast. But really, it's like you can listen to us in the car. Because I'm like thinking, as a parent, I am tired. I am so tired. But if someone gives me access and tools while I'm washing the dishes, while I'm driving to work, great. Like I'm gonna listen to it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That to get to that in YouTube, would you have to write parenting on the whole?
You can scan this QR code real quick. Your phone will probably pick it up, but if you don't scan it, then you just type parenting the whole child podcast. And on YouTube, it's gonna have the captions and you could change the captions to Spanish, Tagalog, Arabic. So you'll be able to read our podcast in the language that you pick.
And all, like, you guys send all the slideshow with the links and stuff gets sent to everyone, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the Parent University website. Yeah, in the resources website.
You maybe want to scan it right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
We have time.
Oh, go back. They want to scan it.
Do you want to scan it right now?
Oh, they have it on the screen.
Oh. You don't have to scan it right now. Not like, ever been to this now.
So to kind of start, warming up to the ending of this presentation, we want you guys to find one word that sums up what you learned today or one question that you might still have. So one word as an example could be hopeful, right? You're hopeful for what, after learning all this information that you'll be able to take it home and help support your child or help support yourself. Or one question that you might still have that is particular to what you're going through right now. Does anyone want to volunteer? We do have some little book giveaways on parenting. So if you are brave enough to respond, we'll give you a free book.
How many books do we have? 4?
We have,
No, 5, 6, 7. Ooh.
yeah, we have three kids books and the 4 adult books.
Niños que fuimos los padres que somos.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The
The whole
like that one.
bearing
I like that one.
child. The conscious parent or padres.
Conscientes.
Yes. And then los.
Los deseos de Carmela.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone want to respond for the good book?
Yes, sir.
So question, did you actually kind of, define how you're define trauma today?
Yeah, at the beginning. Very.
I must have missed it. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I will
Can
scroll.
we review that?
Yes, for sure. Sorry. I love that you asked that question. Like, what trauma?
Oh, that's right.
No worries.
I was so caught up on that picture when you were.
Yeah, because it speaks, and so this is another form of how sadness speaks to us, right? Of course, no one wants to lose a child and they rather not lose a child, but using their grief for to communicate. So yeah, trauma is from series of events, circumstances, and also it can be collective, not just individual, like the Holocaust or the wars that's happening right now.
What book would you like?
Do you want English or Spanish?
Either or.
Okay, you want Home Great Child, Conscious Parent, or a Spanish book after I did that one? Okay, good.
I'm sorry to make you walk.
No, you know what? I'm just gonna carry it all with me. Next question.
One word or a question? I have a question. If you feel like you're someone you know or your child, for example, has been through a trauma and maybe it was not recent, and they seem well adjusted, like how much should you try and probe or find out, especially if they're not necessarily like wanting to talk about it? Like, is there any advice for that kind of situation where it's like, you feel like maybe it's something,
Well, I don't have all the answers.
right?
But this is what I would suggest is if they haven't processed it yet, they may not even know it was a traumatic event for them. So 2 siblings undergoing the same trauma event, one can come out okay and one does not. Everybody is different and can experience it different. So maybe it was not traumatic for that person. Maybe it was. Sometimes it takes 20 years later, they're like, oh, that was a traumatic event. Then they reach out to a therapist, then they unpack it. But if you're still worried as a parent and like something happened, you can always ask like, hey, how was this experience for you? Do you want to talk about it? Sometimes just opening that door allows them. I remember one time, so my beautiful son, he was in the bus and they're going to a field trip and the teacher put everyone with a friend except for him. And I was like, must be traumatic. They're all going to a trip together and they put him alone and he's one of the few Black boys in the school. So I'm also thinking, I'm like, Mama Bear's gonna be angry. I'm like, and how was that for you? How did you feel? And he's like, I feel nothing. I like sitting by myself.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, but in my head, I'm like, he experienced racism. Everybody's like the worst case scenario. Yeah. So maybe that event was not a traumatic thing for them. And maybe it was. We don't know until we ask them. And maybe they won't know as a kid, but maybe they'll know later when they're 25, like, Oh, that was actually a hard experience for me.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
I love that question because my daughter, there was a shooting in the apartments next to her school, but they had to position in place, stay in place, but at the time she was outdoors, so she ran because she was terrified. So that was very traumatic for her, and then they went right onto fall break, and she's been on break since. But now we're coming up to the day where she has to go back to school, and she's in 8th grade. So she did mention, like, we worked with her in like those techniques of like just breathing and just being there with her, and helping her find strategies to just kind of work through that trauma. But she said like she's fine, but now that we're getting closer to going back, now she's starting to get anxious. So it might come in waves, or maybe it will kind of go away. But just keeping practicing these things and every day, just so that she kind of strengthens herself in like knowing that she could resort to those practices, because you guys do it regularly, just embedded in your family. And then she could resort to those naturally.
And also, like, one other thing, it's so sad that we're living in a society where we have to deal with school shooting. Like, what? And there's a person who says we cannot breathe the oppression away. Breathing will not stop the school shootings from happening, but also we cannot deal with the oppression without the breathing. So it's also important that we still have our breaths at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you for sharing that story.
What
Also,
would you like?
you sure?
Yeah, I have the ebook that I'm reminded.
That's awesome.
Anyone want to respond in Spanish so we can give away some Spanish books?
Yeah. Dude, awesome.
Y nos damos cuenta que sí hay un trauma, por sí del niño. ¿Y qué tiempo es conveniente tratarlo con terapia?
So if we become aware that our child is experiencing trauma, how soon should we either get them in therapy or help support them?
Good question. So to support them, let's say if we're noticing they're not eating, hyperventilating, angry all the time. First of all, ask, is this just a teenage thing? We don't know. Might be just a teenage thing. But if you know that there's something on, you can say, hey, what's going on? I'm here to support you if there's something you want to share with me. To be honest, I think everybody can benefit from therapy all the time. All the time. You don't have to have trauma to benefit from therapy. You go to therapy and it's just someone who listens to you and give you a different perspective. Amazing. I think everybody should go to therapy.
I say the same thing to all of our kids here at middle school.
Yeah.
Because they think counseling is, like, what? No, I have to talk about my problems. No. If I try to normalize it for them, like counseling is for everyone at any time. And then I explain that I'm not a therapist and it's school-based counseling, which it's even, it's different for them, but I tell them counseling is for everybody at any time.
Anytime. It doesn't
Tell
have
me all the good stuff.
Yeah. And the best part about it is, let's say you don't have trauma, you do therapy, and then you experience trauma, you have the coping skills to deal with the hard thing. It's never a bad thing to go to therapy unless your therapist is weird and like, it takes some time for you to find a good therapist. I've heard people like, oh, it's not this one, it's not this one, it's this one. But always beneficial to see a therapist. I would highly recommend. As a person who I benefit. Oh yeah, one more thing. There's a lot of cultural issues that goes around with therapy as well. I come from an Asian household, Malaysia. We do not share our problems to the world. You keep it in the family, show good honor, and we have respectable and we have it all together. So I had to actually go to therapy without telling my parents. My parents still don't know I'm going to therapy, but I had to do that for myself. And I'm happy that you're a parent who wants that already, is asking that. That's different. That opens a different communication and relationship with your child versus my relationship with my parents. I can't even tell them that I'm airing the panties out. So to speak. What's your question?
I like the whole class. I learn a lot. But my son going to the therapist, because sometimes he don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
He's quiet.
Yeah.
I said, what's going on? Oh, nothing. Oh, okay. Sometimes talk to, her.
Yeah.
And when I go to the therapist, she asked him, "Do you want mom to go out?" No, she can stay. Okay. And then I listen what he say. But sometimes he don't want to talk to me. Like, but I always told him, I'm here for you. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
You can talk to whatever you want with me. I'm your mom, I'm your friend. But yeah, sometimes he's quiet.
Yeah.
He talk tomorrow.
I think one of the things that I have learned from working with kids from 11 to 13 years old is that they don't want to tell their parents a lot of things, and that's normal for their age. At this stage in their life, they want to have like responsibility, ownership of even what they share.
Because they're trying to be who they are. They're trying to be, oh, I'm discovering I might be different. How do I be different from my mom? How do I be different from my dad? So that's definitely happening right now. Yeah.
I think it comes that what you're explaining is what is normal, developmentally appropriate for their age. Yeah, so it's a good thing that they have other people in their life that they can talk to, because it might not always be mom or dad or their parent or whichever adult is taking care of them. And it's hard, but it's okay for now.
Yeah. And then also you asking them and he knowing that you are ready to listen is all he needs. You're his home base, that any moment he can always come back to you. So you being willing to say, hey, you still want to share anything with me? That's beautiful. But sometimes kids don't have parents that wants to talk to them. So you saying that shows that you are there for him. He knows you care. He knows your home base. That's the most important. And then also, if you haven't watched Inside Out 2, the movie, 100% watch that. You can see their brain. It's like the parent land starts straight. Yeah. And then the friend land, so big. That's just they're trying to be a different person from who they were in their household.
Love that.
There'll be more workshops where you can.
I think I learned today, it was reading, like when I tried to do with my daughters. So when they were more, when they were babies, a dog tried to play with them, so since that, they scare of dogs.
Yeah.
So every
That's
time.
traumatic.
Yeah, every time that they see a dog, they're crying, and most of the dogs, they're not like aggressive. So it's something that right now I'm thinking, should I get a dog so they can lose the fear, or what should I do in this situation? Because every time that we go out and they see a dog, they run. Like they don't want to stay like near to the dog.
Oh, yeah,
So
100%.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, we have stray cats everywhere. I was afraid of them because they had hurt me before. It's just something that a face that will go away over experience over time. And then what happened is I moved to America and everybody had dogs, everybody had cats, and I was like, okay, I have to deal with this. But it grows with time. Sometimes it goes away. Kind of like when they used to have nightmares when they were young, they don't have nightmares over time, having that fear of the darkness, they grow over it over time. That's gonna happen as well. I would ask your kids if they want to have a dog in the house.
Yeah, they want it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just I have a small apartment, so I can.
Yes.
And I'm working on that.
And another thing is you can let them go to a friend who has a dog.
Yeah.
That is a good dog. Like that knows how to train. And let them stay in the house. Don't let them touch them straight away. Just let them expose them a little bit. Like I'm sitting on the couch, I'm sitting next to the dog. You can be next to me here. I will protect you over time. And it could be like a 5-minute moment and then leave. And then next day, maybe 10 minutes, 15. If you wanted to, you don't have to. But I'm also not a professional, so just letting you know, I only just study trauma, like dissertation-wise, writing things down, not a therapist.
Don't get
She
advice.
get 2 of these and she has 2 kids? Sure. If everybody's okay with that, she gets 2 and everybody only get 1.
Okay. I do have a question on Zoom.
Okay.
So this parent
was asking, could you explain the difference to know when your child has anxiety from when it is just a moment of confusion because of her growing up and trying to understand the changes, like for example, like the transition from middle school to high school?
That is a very normal anxiety to have. Middle school to high school. I'm gonna tell you, my child, who is so confident in herself in middle school, when she's going to high school, this is what we do. Every morning in the car, we're playing and we're blasting the music of your choice. 6-year-old gets to play his Zelda music. She gets to play whatever newest artist music. We go closer and closer to the high school. All of it's just like, why is the music so loud? Turn it down. All of these things start happening as she's going to the high school. Because she's nervous and anxiety. I acknowledge that. That's okay. It's a normal transition. Something to like, if you notice that's happening over time, the middle of the school year, it's high school, she's still not used to it. Or even after the first year of high school, she's still nervous about high school. That's something you want to see. And again, see a therapist always. Yeah. Like, it's always a good thing. So that's for that awesome parent who asked that question. If they want to come to the school and pick up a book, they're more happy to. If someone, yeah, write their name. But yeah, if like over time and she's still anxious, you want to ask her about it. Like, what's making you anxious? Is it someone who's bullying you at school? Is it a teacher? Is it a class? What is making you anxious? And see if it goes away over time. If it doesn't, I would definitely look into that. Like if she's still a senior and she's still anxious, or like I get anxious for exams, 100%. Every kid, but especially math. I was a math teacher. Kids didn't want to enter my classroom, and they didn't even start my classroom. Yeah. One last question before we leave, as we are closing 7:30. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you, everybody. Hopefully a short question. With the app that has the free therapy based on age, is that like, you just speak briefly on what is like, is it a paid thing? Is
Yes, so Department Health of Sciences, DCHS. Don't know what's the Department of California Health Sciences. Figure out there's a mental health situation in the, especially with teens. Ask professionals to come up with this app to help students specifically. That's why it's free only in California.
And so you sign up and then your kid can speak to a professional on their own?
Yeah, they sign up, then they go in. If they're the little kids one, the 0 to 12, a parent has to sign them up because emails, I don't think you get emails at age 12. And then there's a parenting guidance to guide your kid during that moment. For the 13 and above, there's journaling they can do. They can speak to a coach. Yes, all of that is available. Yeah, I know. They just came up with that 2024, the beginning of 2024. Super exciting.
Was she able to get in on Ania talked about it because she did try, but I was like,
Ania Boyd?
yes.
Oh, yes, she
was on the Zoom.
Did she get to speak a little bit or no?
No, I saw that. She was in there, yeah. But I told her, I said, but we're talking about you.
Oh,
Don't worry, I got
okay.
you covered.
Yeah,
Information about the apps. Yeah, Ania Boyd, yeah.
Yes, information is there. Guys, look at the food we have.
Yeah.
Take it for lunch tomorrow. Or your work. Grab the Sprite, grab the waters. Please take the food and I'll stay back for any questions. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Other side, that was great. Thank you. Have a good evening. Go sleep, get some rest. Tomorrow's Friday. Oh my God, thank God. I know. Take the food, please take the food.